Hello, 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 people. Welcome to hello. Everybody, welcome to the show. Uh, it is off night, so who knows who will join us today? I might be just talking to myself, but I don't care. I'll be talking. We got enough to talk about. I don't think I know one half of the show, 1/3 of the crew won't be here. The other third, I am not sure. So we shall see. But we've started, so we will get going. It is Tuesday, so usually Tuesday would have just meant not really much. It's day a day back from Monday, but this Tuesday actually was a little extra special for some reason. The first game of the season, Champions League, actually plays on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So much for getting the extra time, but we do. Other teams don't. But what you gonna? But who cares? Doesn't affect us as much, and the result today proves that. So, last time we spoke, we just got. Were we just coming back? Yeah, we were just coming back from the international break. I have to look it up. I don't even. I think we were just coming back from the international break, right? Yeah. We were just coming back from the international break, and getting ready for our first game of the. Yeah, getting ready for the first game when we get back, and we're playing Forest, and need to get that stink of the Liverpool match off of us. And Forest was going to be a good one. A lot of people thought Forest was maybe we have a challenge for us, especially Forest decided to let go of their manager, which was a big surprise. And new manager bounce was talked about, but we'll get into the game and you can see why it actually didn't matter. So, what else is going on? That's it. It's just there's two games. Also, Arsenal's had to deal with injuries once again. Um, Erdogan was coming back from was going to be coming back from an injury. Saka is definitely still out and will be out for a little while. Rice was out for a bit, and the plan was to have him come back. Who else was out? Got a long list. Of course, Jesus is out until pretty much the end of the this year. Harris is out until sometime later in this half of the season. And who else we got? I feel like we got a long list of injuries. Who else we got on the injury list here? So I know I'm missing one. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Kai Hap. Oh no, Ben White. That was it. Ben White's the one I'm missing. Ben White is what's interesting about Ben White is he went from playing, how do you say it? Playing with an injury that wasn't an issue to then getting the issue resolved and then being out. So I don't know what I don't believe any of that when they say, "Oh, he could just play on it. It doesn't matter. It won't affect him," because we saw what happens. And joining us in the chat, we've got BX Gunner in the house. Welcome to the show, BX Gunner. Right now, it's just me and you. Hopefully, it's still there. This Tuesday show, I think, was a little bit off. Plus, also, I think a lot of people have probably been just chatting away today because of the Champions League. But since we didn't do our show yesterday, we'll double up on it, and I'll give you at least. Hopefully, you're still here, or whoever joins us later on the replay will hear about what I was thinking about the last game and what I'm thinking about this one. And you know what? We'll get into it. So we're coming back from international break. got some injuries that we're still dealing with. But the one thing that we have done is, Berta has joined us, and some people say that's probably our best signing of the best signing we had of the window, and it's proving to be correct. It's proven to be correct. Got also in the house. You've got Ozzy Gunner in the house. Welcome to the show, Ozzy Gunner. Thanks for joining. I saw you today on the show. I had to watch the replay. I missed it, but I saw you on the replay with Bobby. Cool. Good seeing you back out there and doing. You've been doing your show as well. I think I saw you with Akpos the other day. So good to have you back. And we'll get into this. Wasn't a fan of the lineup, but it worked. You know what? We'll talk about that because that happened a bit in the last two games, and we'll get into that. But yeah, coming back from the international interlaw, as some people call it. I like to call it interlaw. It's better than international break. But yeah, Berta has proven his worth, I think, and I think that's one of those things where Arsenal has gone out there and got one of the best that they could get, as opposed to he might do. I think Berta is one of those. We got the best that we could get, and we'll let him work. And he's shown his worth every time. Every time we've played this season, you look at the players on the pitch, and you're like, "Yep, Berta is doing his work, man. He's doing a good job." So glad to see that. Now get into the the first game, and you know what? The lineup, of course, is going to be a thing. Um, First thing that stands out, and the thing that stands out today as well, was the midfield. Um, for all of us, a midfield. For me, I think the key here is a midfield that includes Zubimendi, Moreno, and for me right now doesn't seem like, in this game anyways, it was Erdogan. So that one has kind of stood out for me, and it has because that lineup in the midfield. For me, I don't think it's Moreno's fault, but I do think the combination of all three doesn't really work for us sometimes. Moreno, I think, doesn't give, at least for me, doesn't give us what we want in our attack when we have him there. Uh, Erdogan coming back from his injury. All right. If he's back healthy, ready to go, you let him go. But for me, and Weary, I think, has been shown that he can carry the weight. Every time he's had to come in and play, he's done the job. I think he deserves a start at some point. He hasn't started this season, but he has come in a couple of times when we needed him to. And Tedder hasn't. I don't think he's repaid him for any of that yet. But that midfield was a little bit all right. And I don't think it's Moreno, and I don't think it's Ubamendi. For me, it's that third position and whether it's going to work. I mean, everybody looks at what he did in Spain, and we talk about Zubimendi and Moreno. I mean, they came back with the what 6 goals apiece. I mean, it's not piece, but when you add them all up, they had 6 goals. But then the question is, yeah, they worked together in Spain. The question is, who plays that Pedro role for Arsenal that gets them going like that? I think the three of them work really well with Spain. We don't have that, and we don't have that right now. And I think we do have an answer. We might have to try it. If you put Eze in the midfield, or you put Nweri in the midfield, I don't know. I feel like that gives me more confidence that the attack's going to work. Um, Dude, two light for light midfielders in the middle of the park. My goodness, Moreno, Rice don't work. Moreno is not a 10. Yeah, and that's we'll talk about that in the game here. But that the Nottingham Forest game, that midfield for me, was okay if we were going to get the Erdogan from that first game of the season. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I think he was hurt before, and I think they let him play because he fell down again. And I think for me, the shoulder thing is not something you can play around with. We did, and it backfired. I think we rushed him back when we didn't have to, and I believe we have the depth, so why not use it? My understanding always has been that Nweri is behind Erdogan, so let him play and let Erdogan not have to rush back. I think we pushed that one, and we've gotten burned too many times, and that's where I say, you know what? Yes, all right, Teddy, you can listen to your medical staff and go with them, but at some point you're going to have to, have a feeling as well. Do I want to push this one, even though everybody says it's right? Obviously, he went away to Norway, and how he survived through that, I don't know. But he made it through and came back and was got injured again. So for me, I feel like I something else was going on. Maybe he took some painkillers or whatever, and they allowed him to get through. And Arsenal didn't want to do that because then you don't know whether or not you're hurting or injuring him more. But now, so yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Eze in the middle. Yeah, no, I think right now we don't have to put Eze in the middle because we still need. I think we need that left wing, and I think in where he can cover for Erdogan. So why not? So maybe we try that. But Moreno, I think he played really well up top for us. Now we're putting him back in the midfield where I feel like he struggled. And you know, in the Forest game, I don't. For me, didn't. I don't think it works for us. I believe it holds us back and it keeps the game close. And I think we're better than that. Our defensive solid, no matter what we do, no matter who plays for us now. Our defense is solid. So I don't think that's any more of an issue. And where he doesn't get to play, if he can't play defense, so that's not a worry anymore. Everybody else, I feel, has got the defensive responsibilities down. So I don't think that's the issue. So for me, we need to score goals. And the only way we're going to do that is if we put more attack-minded players on the pitch. They all have to defend, so that should never be an issue. But that Northern Forest game, really big game. Zubimendi went out there, scored 2 goals. Um, strike. I mean, it all starts really with the play of Madueke. He's been playing really well. As I've been saying, he doesn't have the GA yet, but he's been playing and putting a lot of pressure on back lines and opening things up for us. And I think that's been loosening things up. And next thing you know, bang, they're in trouble. Madueke, I believe he's the one that he takes the corner, ball gets popped out, and Zubimendi puts it away. Very nice. Zubimendi had a really good day. Once again, defense solid. Once again, not in the forest. Another one of our, targets. They got nothing. Got nothing in that game. After that, Zubimendi scores a header. Very nice. I think the play that everybody was waiting for and been looking for is once again Calafiori starts it, long ball to Eze. Eze gets one touch, cross, Yukarez header, or I think it's a header or a touch, goal. Very nice, very nice. I think it was a header, very nice. And we want more of that. We want more of that. So yeah, no, that was good. And I'll put it up here because I like to do this, and we'll keep doing this from now on. But in the game itself, I've got my 5, and I kind of just talked about all of them really already. You can see them right there, essentially. Zubimendi, man of the match. Basically scored 2 goals. We got a clean sheet, and just kept things going. I think we got the answer. We got the answer at the 6th there, or box to box, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, Eucharez, I believe he just needs more service. He's doing all the work defensively, which I think people thought might have been an issue, but he's doing work there. Mascara has replaced Saliba for a bit, and I think we haven't missed Saliba as much as we thought. It's been really good. It's been really good to see Mascara there. I mean, the one thing that Arsenal has done, if you notice with our defense, we don't spend a lot of money on our defense, but the return is great. Return is good. I mean, Mascara is what, 13 mil, and they're talking about Sleeper is worth anywhere from 80 to 100 mil, depending on who wants him. And Mascara is making it not necessarily making us forget who Saliba is, but making us feel like we definitely have. We always talk about, do we have somebody behind our center backs, and I believe we do. I believe we do. So Mascara is looking good. We've got I think we've got Hincapie, who is who also can play there on center back as well. I think I actually have the way our rosters and stuff are set up, and that is not it. I have it right here. Where do I have it? Dum, 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 dum. Oh, yeah. Hincapie plays behind Gabrielle, and you got Calafiori behind him. Timber, yeah. Very nice. So I think we got the answers defensively regardless. I don't think we're ever going to have an issue right now. Hopefully, we don't have an issue, but we've got the depth. So I like it. So that's kind of my five there. I kind of talked about them already. Madueke is doing his thing. Went away to England. Looked really good there. The only thing I think the thing that's going to shut people up is when he scores a goal or creates an assist. But he's definitely putting in his work and looking good there. I don't know. I think for me, one of the things he came in doing and that he has kind of gotten away from is shooting. He used to come in and just shoot, and now he's. I think Arteta's got to him a little bit, and he doesn't shoot as much when he needs to find that balance between when to just attack and look for the pass and when to put his foot through it. Because I think he's getting himself in some really good positions, but he's not willing to take that shot. Today he had a couple attempts where if he had put his foot through it, I think he tried to pass with his left. I want to see him put his foot through it with his right and see how that goes. So Madueke looking really good. Difference between him and Saka, I think he gets by his guys really quickly and looks more threatened. Saka can take his time and still get by. I think different ways to get to the same place. It's just going to be the GA. That's somehow we have to get GA from it, and it can't just be off of his corners, right? But yeah, looking really good. Uh, and the fact that we've been able to score the many goals that we have so far, we played 5 games, and we scored we scored 12 goals already in the 5 games. Really good return right now. Been shut out once, which is telling, but that was going to be a game like that. But otherwise, we've been looked really good. I know a couple people have joined, so I'm going to say hello. I think, yeah. Say hello. Um, let's see. I'll try and go through your comments as well. Yeah, Ergo was hurt now. Yeah, he's definitely hurt. He's out. Why won't this manager put Eze in the middle? It's like he's being stubborn on purpose. I don't know. I don't know about it's stubborn on purpose. He just has his way of doing it, and we all have our thoughts. It's his team, so I'm gonna have to kind of go with whatever he does. Moreno is slow. I said it with Bobby. It has to be Ethan Moreno or Rice with Zubi. I'm with you on that. I don't. I kind of was going back and forth, about this with some people, with some people, and the one thing that Moreno does give Arteta is, that risk averse type kind of feel. Like he doesn't have to feel like he's risking as much, but I feel like you're risking that you don't get the win when you have Moreno on there because I don't think it gives us the opportunity to actually get the lead. So yeah, Moreno is slow, but I think as part of our defense, the way we built doesn't really hurt us as much. The way we've been playing of late, we've seen one-on-one he can be can get us in trouble, but I think that was when he's kind of playing more deeper, and with Zubimendi back there, not so much. We've got Brenny in the house. Brenny, he's from around the way. Like I said, lives really close to Dad, a couple blocks away. Says evening, Gary, evening chat. Got the point today, but Moreno should not be in the starting lineup. Arteta won't play as he in the 10. And I think Arteta's going to have to figure out at some point the defense is set. It don't matter what you do. The defense is set. At some point, it's going to be how can I generate more goals? How can I generate more opportunities? Put less pressure on our defense like we did last season. And then, if you've got these players, play them. When we get fully healthy, right? We get fully healthy, and you bring Saka in, and do you actually want to bench Madueke? Yeah, and if you do, then you might be hurting your attack a little bit. All right, maybe. But if Eze can play and Madueke and Saka can play, at some point it'd be nice to see us. I'm just thinking out here. Yeah, Zubamendi, you have Eze and Weary, you have Madueke and Saka and Gyökeres. I don't know. talk. I mean, I just like to see that and see how that plays out. I think we'll be all right, especially if you have like a if you have Timber and you have White in the game. I mean, even Skelly in there because that gives you even more defensively stability on the back line. As opposed to maybe the Calafiori who's a little bit more attacking mindset there. So yeah, no, I think Arteta's going to have to do something he doesn't want to do, and if that means Eze he needs to play, and I think Eze plays regardless. Find a spot for him. I mean, he's your most expensive. I mean, if we're going to go by how much money you spend this window, he was the most expensive. He should play every game. That's why you brought him in. If Moreno isn't playing as a striker, he's useless in my opinion. Completely throws off our flow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it can work. So I think the problem isn't necessarily Moreno. Sometimes it might be who's playing across from him, or in front of him or behind him, depending on how you look at it. So for me, that's kind of like it's the Rice. It's either Rice or Moreno. Pick one. You know, if you're gonna playing both of them, I don't think is right. But yeah, I think you're missing something. You've got Nweri, let him play. Let him play. That's the thing. You've got if Erdogan is the answer, then Nweri has to be the answer. Because you do that everywhere else on the pitch. Everywhere else on the pitch, somebody goes out, the next guy comes in. That's why Mascara is there. And he hasn't actually played for you for an entire season. And where he has, and I don't understand how he cannot be the answer when Erdogan is out the game. He played 30 plus games last year, and he's still trying to figure out whether he has an answer behind Erdogan. I don't know. 2 times he's got injured. He's born in Nweri. Did the game state change? And some people think it got better. I don't know. It should be that easy. It should be that easy. It's as if the manager doesn't want to get out of second gear purposely. He's driven with the handbrake on. It's called. Some people will call it control. Some people call it being risk averse. I mean, it's the defensive mindedness of him is. It's. I think it's hindering the fact that we can't just run away with games and we start really slow. Last thing we're trying to do is get countered, but defensively we're solid. So once in a while, maybe our attack will put pressure on their team, and they won't be able to counter as fast because they're too scrambling, trying to hold up, trying to contain us. Yeah, Arteta playing like a dig at the Cronkies and Berta. That's not gonna work because we've seen it. That's not gonna work. It hasn't worked yet, in my eyes. That midfield has not worked yet. So I don't know what it's a dig. It's like signing your pink slip essentially. Why would you do that? It's not working. You're struggling to control games with a lineup that's supposed to control and keep things calm. All it does is slow down the game and let the other team get into a groove and figure their way out and realize, guess what? They can't really attack us the way we thought they were. So that's me. Our injured players mustn't be rushed back. We have proper cover to rotate properly and allow sufficient time. Exactly. So Erdogan coming back. I mean, the fact that Erdogan went with Norway and played. He was part of 2 games. Comes back and he gets injured. Something strange is going on. Something strange is going on there. Yep, something weird is happening. Still, we need a Saka turning into Reece James. Yeah, well, hopefully that won't happen now that he's come back and he had a similar injury to Reece James, and we saw how long it took for him to come back. Why are we rushing? We don't have to rush him back. You went and spent a lot of money on Madueke. Supposedly that is our backup to Saka. If so, use him like that, all right? And when Saka's fully ready to go, you play him. I mean, we saw what he can do, when he came back, scores a goal, but then just running down the pitch and he's out. So I think for me, it's easy because you did all the hard work, right? You did all the hard work. You went out there and got players to back up what you got. Use them. Use them. Saka is just as lethal on either wing. The manager has to work it out. Yeah, I believe both Saka and Madueke can switch sides if need be. So, yeah, this is the new Partey right back. I think you mean right wing, right? So, so here we go. So we'll see. We'll see. So that was the Forest game. That was a talk there. But now, in general, I think that Forest game showed that for most of the teams that were going to play in the Premier League, we should have no problem, no matter who's in the midfield. We are in this game. Zubimendi stood out. Maybe the next one when we play, after we play the City matches, I think the City matches next is going to be a tough one. We'll get into that as well. But we play City next, and we'll talk about that. But first, let's get into the game today. Today we're playing Athletic Bilbao. We had played them earlier in the preseason. We beat them 3-0. Had probably our best preseason there. Looked really good. Gyökeres had scored with a header from Zubimendi. Very nice. We looked much better there. Probably the best we looked in the preseason. But this one was going to be different, of course. It was going to be a different one because Bilbao was out with injuries. I think a lot of injuries are happening. We're getting close to this World Cup time. I fear that the World Cup won't be as good as people think, right? Because you might have some players not making it. I mean, they're getting injured the season before, and then this is I think it's in the summer, right? So it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough, and all these extra games people are playing are hurting, and part of that is teams that don't rotate is hurting. Let's see, Moreno in the 10. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I don't know about that. If the setup was better, we'd have been up 3 at halftime, in my opinion. In your opinion, huh? I like to think that for sure. I believe that you have Nweri there, Odegaard there, with Rice and Zubimendi. Yeah, if you if you have Moreno there and you play a similar style to what him and Zubimendi play when they were in Spain, maybe it looks the same. Yeah, I believe we need to start. We seem to start fast. We just don't get that goal, and I think a lot of it for me is we just don't have the right options on the pitch. So everything's a little bit slow, or not really slow, but you just don't have the answers there. Especially when you have, Madueke does get past his man, and if he's passing it back, who's he passing it back to sometimes, right? You know, we saw what's happened when a ball gets to Zubimendi. But if that's Nweri coming in a little bit late, we're expecting that ball to slice just the same way. We've seen him kind of volley a ball, right? So, if that's Nweri, he'll be there before Zubimendi. So, voila. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. Um, Rice looked lackluster when the midfield pairing isn't great. You know what? I'm gonna say today it didn't look right, but I don't think Rice actually looked right today. I think he was kind of dusting wiping the dust off a little bit. He looked a little bit like he hadn't been playing for a bit, and it showed. So for me, I don't think today's game showed up right, good for Rice, but I'm not sure if it's just the lineup as much as he was still a little rusty, from being out for a bit. Not sure why, but that's what it looked like to me. That's what it looked like to me. And I'm switching my 5 because I'm getting into today's game. Once again, midfield. Once again, midfield. And once again, and where he can come in for Odegaard at the start of a game, but it shows up, does really well, and gets doesn't get the appreciation you think he should get in regards to maybe he should get the start next because he has come in twice now. Rudiger's gone off injured twice. I don't think he's done a bad job. And the only way he's going to get better right now is if he plays some football. And he should play. So where he should have played today after coming in on the weekend, didn't get it. Uh, I think Arteta's getting a little jaded with the way that Marino and Zubimendi have been playing. And Rice was coming back, so I get that. But I mean, and then maybe it's the comfort level that Arteta has with Moreno, Zubimendi, and Rice because of their age. Because it can't be because he doesn't know of the player. He's known of Inweri for probably 4 years now. If he doesn't have trust in him, then he wouldn't be on this team in my eyes. So it's not as if he doesn't trust him or shouldn't. Because if he doesn't, then he wouldn't be here. It is not that he hasn't actually come in and performed, or he had to do that twice this year. So I don't know. It should be easy. I keep saying it. A lot of times it should be easy. Arteta likes to do things a difficult way. You know, Moreno should be a backup when we have starters available, and I think in where he should be starting, Rice should be starting. You know, I think in Moreno might play behind Rice if that's the case. We know Norgard is behind Zubimendi, right? And Erdogan is supposed to be behind Erdogan, but for some reason that's not the way we do things here. We've got LN in the house. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Um, yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining us, LN. Um, Here we go. So getting into the game today. Like I said, I didn't like the lineup. The midfield once again complained about it. Yep, yep. We're happy to have you here. The my thing is when I said this in my head a couple of times. When you put that midfield like you have there with Moreno, Zubimendi, and Rice, it's almost like how you have a castle and you have a moat, and the moat is supposed to protect you from attacks from the outside. You have a bridge that lets people in, but you have that moat there to keep everybody out. That moat right now around our attack, or between our attack and our defense, is that midfield there with Moreno and Zubimendi and whoever you put in there. It seems can't really get the flow through to the front line, and there was multiple times where they had to just go around and they couldn't go around because you know Bilbao for me was just all spread out, not allowing too many passes, and there was nobody in the middle. Nobody who wanted to split that middle. So Mendy would get in there, but then he wouldn't come for the ball, get into spaces that allowed him to go on a half turn and maybe attack. And I don't think we want to do that with Zubimendi. Somebody else has to do it, and they don't want to do it because they can't do it. At least it seems like it. So it's it was like a desolate area, that midfield, in terms of get a ball getting through. A lot of long balls, and Gukares is trying to hold up. They're bringing him down a lot. Referee did allowed a lot of hands on, a hands on defense there. Gukares was holding up as best he could, but he's not. That's not his game. And long ball to Madueke, easy as pie. For some reason, to Eze, not so easy. I think teams probably look at the risk, and I believe that to get the ball to Eze and he gets a feel for the game, where think teams probably think they're in trouble. Until Madueke shows a little bit better of a threat, meaning some GA is going to happen. Right. We saw a few times that the ball has got to Eze. Looks like a goal or assist is coming. Right. Not much happening in the Forest game. He gets one touch, ball across, Icarus score. Today, not so much. And I think people are going to say because he can't play left wing, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. But also, I think it's also just kind of maybe he needs a little bit more support like everybody else does. Maybe he needs a little bit of support from that midfield. Not really going to come much. Not, I think, not now with Rice. I think still getting his sea legs back because I felt like Rice. We've seen him. We've seen it, right? We saw it, and maybe it's Skelly as well. Maybe a Skelly Rice on that left hand side changes things because we saw. For me, I always go back to that PSG game. We saw them. They can ball carry, and maybe that helps us open things up. Today, not so much. Nobody really wanted to do that. Didn't look like that ball was going to get from the back line to the front line easy. There was no easy way through. So they just spread things out, Bilbao, and we just couldn't figure out a way. Didn't want to go through the middle. When we went out wide, I think Madueke needs more support when he gets that ball, and just wasn't there. I don't think. I think we err on the side of defense than maybe attack. But yeah, so we'll get into it. I put out my 5 there for the game. I'll go through that real quick. Mascara once again looked really good. I mean, I think he had towards end of the game maybe he got a little tired, but for the most part, very good showing once again. I mean, people are saying he even looks better than Gabriel. I mean, you know, maybe Gabriel's being a little bit more cautious now because he is playing with a younger player. And I think we saw that when he first got here, right? Gabriel, he was one that was always in trouble, it seemed. For me, a lot of it was because he was erring on the side of, you know what, I'm going to do? I'm going to help out as much as I can. And it might put me in some bad situations, right? And it did. So with Mascara there, he's probably doing a similar thing. His mindset is probably also, I got to err on the side of, let's not, hurt this youngster. I'm going to get him going. Same way that well, I wouldn't say that Luis did that when he was there, but I think that's where I think Gabriel might not look as good, is because I think he's erring on the side of Mascara. I'll let Mascara do the work, and I'll back him up. We see that, right? We've seen Gabriel actually have to come in and either sometimes he's been out of position and Saliba's got in and cleaned it up, or he's done the cleaning up. And I think that's the good thing about what we have there. Mascara has just been allowed to play. Once he gets a little bit more comfortable, I think we'll be better off. We'll be okay. Yep. Definitely sick of the injuries, but you know what? That's why we got the depth. Is it hurting us right now? I don't think the injuries have hurt us. You know, maybe in the Liverpool match, but I think the Liverpool match was, for me, was just not utilizing the players in a certain way. I think that's why. I think so. I don't think that was injury. I mean, take away that free kick and 0-0, we're probably going, all right, we'll take that, right? The only way we're going to get a win is if we went a little bit more on the attack side, and we didn't do that. So, as some people said, he was playing for a draw, and I think he's going to have to take a risk that, you know what, I might lose. And guess what? You might lose because today like we could have lost the way. I mean, if that game had gone a little differently in that first half, when Bilbao actually got they got some opportunities there, right? I think that's because we just didn't look like it. We weren't threatening them on the attack. So when they got a chance, they just went 100%. I think that's the issue there. Sometimes is you err on the side of just reducing your risk, and all you do is create more risk that you're gonna lose. So um, I got Rhetoric Gamer in the house. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. And I guess next time got Madueke once again. We could say this in Mascara and Madueke, they've been they've been playing well. Not that we are forgetting Saliba or Saka, but that's what they have come in to do a job, and they've been doing the job. They've been doing the job, and they've looked good at it. I mean, like I said, Mascara near perfect. Madueke just needs some GA. Give me some GA, please. Once he gets that, I think everybody, I think it'll be a lot of shutting up. I mean, one thing that's happening is he's playing. We ain't really losing, right? No. I mean, we'll take. Well, I guess we have to take the L at Anfield, but That wasn't because of one person. I think that was just because the entire game plan wasn't to wasn't to win as much as it should be. Um, I'm going to skip two names, and you're going to understand. You know why? But Rice, like I said, came in a little bit rusty, and I believe grew into the game. I mean, he got that yellow, and one thing Arteta's shown, and I would like him to do that for more players. He showed some trust there. I mean, Rice got a yellow, probably a silly yellow in his eyes, and the risk is that he might get another one. But no, Rice played the rest of the game. That midfield played the rest of the game. Arteta, as some people said, stubborn. He knows what he wants. He played them all the way through, right? I mean, all three of those players played, I should say. I think Moreno didn't move up. If I look, I think Moreno probably moved up as the as a second, as and when we took Gyökeres off, he kind of moved up. But in general, he played all three, and you know what that means? He trusts those players, right? He trusts those players. Um, Even Moreno did get a shot from right in front of the goal, but probably right at the goalkeeper. But in general, I think the thing that upsets me a little bit is just the trust that he's shown. It shows in some of his players, and he doesn't in others. Like Rice with the yellow, he'll let him play. Saka with what looked like a bad injury, I'll keep him playing because he trusted they'll get the job done. And Rice did. He did today. Rice did. So that's why I got it. Rice in the list. He started out a little rusty. I think that's because he'd been out for a bit, probably not healthy when he was playing before. But came in and did a job. And eventually, looks like the Rice that we like. Doesn't help us as much, I think, in the attack, but solid, solid, solid play from him. Erdegaard rests himself too much in the tackles he shouldn't be going for. You know what? If you remember, a lot of people were saying that he was shying from contact and all this stuff. Now he's putting himself out there and getting injured. You know, for me, that's where if that's the case, you're going to get injured when he go into these tackles. Then you need to punish the people on the other side. Not defensively. You need to punish them on your with your legs on the attack. That's what he needs to do. Because I don't want him to have to tackle. Why do we have to? Why does he have to tackle? I don't want him to have to do that. That's I no. Let Moreno, Rice, Subamendi, Norgard. Those are the ones. That's the thing I don't get. You've got what should be a really great a creative player, and the last thing we're doing is we're putting him backwards. Nah. Let him let him create. I mean, when we had Partey and him and Partey would just tapping the ball back and forth between each other. He needs that same thing. And Zubimendi, I think, should be working with him in the same way. And I think just let him be the creative juice. I don't. He doesn't have to lead it back. We've got Zubimendi there. We've got Rice. If you're playing both of them, you don't need Erdegaard to do anything that requires him to track back and support. You've got two defensive-minded players already in that midfield, right? Let Erdegaard or right now Havertz, let them, not Havertz, but in Wary, create. Let them create. If it's Eze, let him create. So yeah, Reddit gamer saying, "How you been? I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good." Arsenal's on a 2-game winning streak right now. Once again, another shutout. It's 4 shutouts in 5. Right? We're taking that. We're taking that. I think exactly. I think when I was talking about Rice and Erdogan, right? Hopefully that's what it is. But yeah, got Miss Melina in the house. Thanks for joining us, Miss Melina. Check her out when she does her shows. She says hi to the chat. So yeah, so that's why I went with Rice. I skipped over the next two and game 0-0. It looked like it was going to go to continue to be a 0-0 game, but then Arteta made some subs. 65th minute, he brings on Trossard for Gyökeres, and I'm going. initially, I'll tell you this: when I saw that gash in the back of Yokeriz's head, I figured he wouldn't even come out. He might not even come out at halftime, or he's definitely not playing 90 minutes. I mean, at some point they're going to need to get that gash resolved, stop bleeding, and stitch him up and all of that kind of stuff. Also, just blood coming out of your head probably is not a good thing, you know. So I think, yeah, I didn't think he was going to play a full 90 anyways. I figured Marino would move up at some point. Uh, so I thought that was going to happen. It did. I just didn't think it was for Trossard. I was hoping and wary to come in, and that would move Moreno up. I was hoping for that because the game was still 0-0 at that time, right? Trossard comes in, and one thing I like about Trossard is he's going to help us create, right? He's going to help us create. Yeah. So we had that issue. What is it? Ellen says we had that issue with Ozil. Arteta wanted him to be more physical, so benched him. I worry Arteta doesn't use creative players properly. Yeah. Well, he errs on the side of defensive responsibilities, and that takes away from the creative juices in some of the players. Some of them can overcome it, right? Saka overcomes all the limitations supposedly that the defense creates, right? So I think it's a mindset. Arteta. I don't think he's telling them not to, but I think some players are letting it happen to them. Like they're really good at something, but because they have responsibilities outside of their wheelhouse, essentially, it takes away from the things they like to do. And I think some players still can do it, like a Saka. I think Eze could probably do it, but other players like Erdogan can do it. But sometimes he errs too much on the defensive responsibility side. But he's got it in him. By January, if Saka, Havertz, and Jesus are fit, do we go for a left wing in a window? All depends on what you're going to do with Eze, right? At this point, like I think Eze starts for us. Just don't know where. You know, I just don't know where. Um, Jesus would be, would be a good in this game if like Jesus would be that nice backup to Yokeres, right? So I'll get back to this comment, but I want to say hi to everybody. It's saying hi to Mel. Anthony Herbert says hello, Gary. Bye, Gary. Famous saying. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, no, if those three players come back healthy, Arteta's head is going to explode. He's not going to know what to do with all this creative attacking threats that we're going to have, and it should create him nightmares. But I also think it will be a good thing for us because no matter who he puts in that front in that attacking space, and right now I think Havertz and Jesus' best position is behind Gyökeres. If not, I think some people play alongside Gyökeres in some cases, right? Everybody's always ready for that two up top approach. Jesus can play behind Gyökeres if you needed to, right? But I think Gyökeres for me has to be the flagship. I think can't be Havertz. It's not what you didn't do all this to bring Gyökeres in to like go. You know what? Havertz is probably Havertz day. I think nah. So for me, yeah, yeah. So I for me that's how I feel things should go there. So yeah, left wing. The thing is, I would have been happy to get that left wing. Yeah, and then it's just a matter of where does Eze play when you do that? Like for me, Eze has to start. Does Erdogan have to start? Does Ethan start? And if you have an Eze and you decide to put him back, right? Can you not play with Eze and where you are Eze and Erdogan? I think you can play with Eze and Erdogan, right? For sure, because Erdogan will err on the side of I'll do the support. So yeah, now you know what, a left wing, I would say yes, but I wouldn't be too concerned if we don't. go get one, go get another attacker. Even though I feel like we do need one because I feel for me, if you're telling me you can either improve on Trossard or Martinelli, then you do it right. If you get a start out of it, then you just do that right. So yeah, yeah, I think it doesn't matter if they come back healthy or not. I think you still need to go get one. All right. I mean, I'd rather have more than less. And if the team plays the way we are and there's lots of extra games, right? That means we're going deep in all the cups. There's minutes for everyone, right? I think the count is around 60 to 64 games if you play all the available games that you can make. So I don't know. We've got Directed John in the house. He says, "Is this the what? How do you say that? The Leads United channel? I don't even know what that is. No, this is definitely not the Leeds United channel, and you know better. Yeah, yeah. Tell him, Ellen. It's an actual football club. Yes, Arsenal is. Yeah. Do you think Trossard will now just be in? You know what? In this squad now, yes. He's not starting for us. That was my going into this season. I would have been happy if both Trossard and Martinelli was sold, just so we could improve on them. Not that they don't have worth; they have worth to this team, right? But if we're going to try to improve, then we need to get starters that will replace them and push them down. And that's what we've seen now, right? Eze's in, they sit on the bench. Madueke is in, they sit on the bench. Late in the game, yeah, and I think you saw the difference, right? You saw the difference, and one of the differences is um, Moreno is out of the midfield. I feel, right? When Gyökeres comes off, you got to put somebody up top, and that's Moreno. So did Arteta realize that that's why things looked a little bit different? Not just that we had fresh legs come in, right? It's Trossard, making that pass, right? And things did change. I believe Moreno moved up when we made that substitution, and Trossard was just in there, in that. I guess he was in the middle of the pitch, but I think he was coming from a midfield position. Let's see where Trossard was playing most of the game. Yeah, if you look at it, he's playing defensively. He's towards the back of the field there, off on the left hand side a little bit, but not too much in the middle, right? So he's playing, you know. So I feel like yeah, him and Martinelli impact subs, and we saw what they can do today. To me, it's like if you watch the women play, uh, you've got Blackstenius and you've got Frida Manum. Both of those players played really well when we had a lot of injuries a couple of years ago. Now they come off the bench for us. I mean, they've won Champions League for us, right? I mean, so they have it in them, but they're not starters for us on the women's side. And I think same thing with Trossard and Martinelli. They're not necessarily starters for us. They can start for us in a pinch if we need it, but coming off, and I think Trossard is professional enough and has that mindset. If he's not starting when he does come on, he's going to produce something, and he's always seemed to have done that. So yeah, so yeah, yeah. No, and this is what we wanted, right? Everybody said we needed to bring in players that push other players to the bench. We're doing it. This is what it looks like when we do struggle. We bring them in, and they're hungry, and voila, you see the magic today. I mean, there was a nice touch there from from Trossard to Martinelli. Martinelli would have kind of loses the ball, but ends up falling to him, and we're laughing. We're laughing, right? And Martinelli's off to the races. Boom. Then gets a little more confidence in him, and then the next goal happens, right? Yeah. Everybody saying hi to John and Jose and Anthony. What's up, everybody? We're just chilling, man. We're just talking. It's just me tonight, but I'm happy to have you guys with me. I've been talking nonstop. I need to take a little sip here, or else I'm gonna. Not that my throat's getting dry, but you might. Rhetoric Game, you're a funny man. This show would have been elite with Tony. Not gonna lie, but we love you, Gary. Even if you're talking, no, I'm not saying that word. That's not. We're talking football here, Reddit Gamer. You know it. Yeah, biggest gunner. Blackstenius, Manum, Ford, all clutch. Yeah, and you know what? You get that when players have come in, they've produced for you, and maybe they're not starters for you anymore. The team has moved on, right? We've moved on to a situation in a position where these players just aren't. They can't start for us anymore because we need better. And Arteta's done that, or should I say, Arteta and Berter have done that, gotten us better players. So, yep, squad players they are, and they can come in and still do well. And we've seen it now. So we have answers now coming off the bench. People will be concerned now. You bring on a Martinelli on their back line that might be tired. They'll just run away from them. Yeah. Trossard as a bench player, not as a starter, though. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. He can start games for us, right? He can, but we don't need him to start. Yeah, you know, be a good way for them to go out, and a good way for Arsenal to make some money off of them, right? You saw what happens when you win stuff. When you sell some of your backups, people are like, you might pay a little bit more for them than you would have. I mean, he still can play, maybe not in the Premier League. Martinelli. Martinelli produces and is able to get 10, 15 GA for this season in all comps. You're like, in a different league he might perform, and we want to see that, right? Got Anders in the house. Welcome to the show, Anders. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining. Leeds had a little rough weekend. Hoping to get out with a draw and late goal. Ugh, yuck. But you know what? That's just football. You got to play. You got to run through the tape. Got to run through the tape. Never know. Think Arteta. Ellen says he think Arteta will give Kepa games, maybe cup games. I think he has to. I think we saw what happened last season when you don't rest your goalkeeper. Rhea will wear down, and it's not necessarily physically. Sometimes it's mental, and there's no reason for him to have to play every game. Kepa. We actually played against Kepa, and he did a decent job. We're just a better team. So I think Kepa with the defense that we have in front of him should be all right. Give Rhea a day off here and there. Especially if you think about it. Supposedly if you hit that 15 to 18 point, you get the 15 to 18 points in the Champions League. In the first 6 games, the last two. And I think for us, the only reason why it sucked for us is because we finished second and we didn't even get the benefit of it because of the way they scheduled it. They scheduled it so weird. We finished second, and we had to play. We had to play on the road. We had to play at home for some reason, and they've changed that rule now after they realized how silly it was. You you finish in the top 8, and then you have to go and play at home at first leg. Who knows how that game would have played out if we had to go on the road and play? Maybe we're down 3-1. It doesn't really matter, but maybe we would play a little bit more defensive. They get nothing out of it and come home with our 6, and maybe things are different. So yeah, no, I think Kepa will get games. Let's see. Let's look at that because I think like last year. I mean, I think last year, we had Setford. We had two of the academy players actually played, right? I mean, let's see what we have here. Yeah, no, we had so yeah, we had. I mean, David Rea. He was goalkeeper of 55 games, but Porter, Setford, and Neto each got a game, right? And I think Kepa will get more than that. At the least, he'll get 3, but I think he should be able to get anywhere from 5 to 8 games. Especially if you're thinking about it at some point when we're playing in the knockout rounds, and you know what, you might want to give him a break going into that knockout round and maybe give that game off before the week starts, right? And let him get a day off, before we actually come to the knockoff if it makes sense, if the timing's right. Otherwise, I think mentally, he did look a little bit, and that's when you might want to sub him. So we'll see. Yeah, see, I feel sorry for what happened to Sheffield Wednesday and United, both Sheffield clubs. So, 'cause some worse owners I've seen, both not fit to own a football club. I haven't. You know what? I have not read about that. Is that? I have to look it up now. I think I do know about this one, but I just have to check if it's. Let's see what it says. Sheffield Wednesday financials. Mm. Oh, okay, yeah. Not being able to pay its players. Owners who reportedly failed to meet financial obligations, leading to players leaving. Yeah, the closure of a section of the field. Yeah, yeah. And this is where, right? Some people will say, "Why do you have FSP and PPR and all that kind of stuff?" And it's for these reasons. That's why you're trying to protect the clubs, protect the teams, and you don't want to see them go bankrupt and stuff like that. That's why we have them to some degree, so they don't overspend and put themselves in dire straits. That's what we did. That's what's going on here, right? That is what's going on there. Got Tiger and Gunnar in the house. Welcome to the show, Tiger and Gunnar. I've been chatting it up here all by my lonesome, but that's all right. That's all right. Tuesday was not necessarily planned, but I had to do some family stuff, and then Spencer had some family stuff, and Tony Tuesdays are usually hit or miss. So there you go. When's the next Champions League game for us? Yeah. So yeah, I was just looking at that. So we are playing our next game in the Champions League is Olympiagos. Olympiagos. I think it's how you say that. That's first week of November or of October, a home game. So yeah. So we've got Athletic Club, which you just won. We got Manchester City. Then you've got Port Vale, Newcastle, Olympiagos, West Ham, and then then you've got another international break. So yeah, I think we have one every month. So this will be the first one. And then we have another one on the 14th is our last game before the 18th, and then we have the 4th of November, sorry, the 8th of November to the 22nd. So yeah, yeah, this is just a stop and go, and then then the players get to maybe settle, maybe they'll won't have all these injuries. Google exists. It does. That's why I'm looking at it. I have certain pages up all the time on my browser, so I know when the games are. Good to see you, Tiger and Gunnar. Glad to have you on there. Yep, Olympiacos on the first. I was waiting for. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, I made a decision kind of late yesterday, and you probably were sleeping. But yeah. But we're here. We're here. I feel like Jesus' career in Arsenal shirt is over. Yeah, no, you know what? I think to some degree yes, but also if we can't sell him in December and January, and we can use him. We've got lots of I think lots of points in games and parts of the season where if he can come back and get it, he has his legs. Use him. Use him. So I think that's what we got to do there. Um, all right. So I talked about Trossard. Oh wait, talk about Martinelli and Trossard. Trossard and Martinelli came in, did a really good job for us. I mean, for me, at some point, I was like looking at it and say, "Oh, Trossard with a 2 GA, easy, right? Easy man of the match." Duh, Martinelli 2 GA. They both could have been man of the match. I don't know who got it, but I would have given it to both of them because they both helped us in getting the win today. Defensively, solid once again. Mascara probably could have easily have gotten it if it stayed 0-0. But the fact that we scored 2 goals and it contributed based on our substitutions might be, I think you take that and you get 2 GA from your backups that you bring on the attacking side. Yeah. So I don't know who got it. If you guys remember who got the man of the match for the game, but it could have been Trossard, it could have been Martinelli for me, and I would have been okay with it. Rhetoric Game says, I like Jesus. He was our best player up until January last year for me personally. Would never let his injury heal. Well, he was a really good player for us in a 3 game stretch last year. He looked really good, looked really promising. It's like you know, and I think that's maybe I don't think that's the problem. I just think he just wasn't healthy, and that's why he went back out. I mean, did we like? I think if he comes back, he doesn't play 3 games like that. I think Arteta, hopefully Arteta thinks back to the time when he did use him, and then decides, you know what, and I'm not gonna. You don't have to play. You're not gonna play back to back games. I think that's what happened, right? Um, Last season. So I kind of feel like, you know what, as, even though, and I believe this, even though the medical staff says the player's good to go, coaches sometimes have to maybe use the force or just think about it. Is it, do I need to? Because yeah, he might be all right to play, but is he all right to play? All right, Saka was all right to play. We probably shouldn't have. Erdogan was okay to play, but probably shouldn't have. Not when you've got the depth we got now, right? There's no reason for players that are on there eh, to have to play in back-to-back games. We don't. They don't have to do that here. I mean, if they got every other game, they'd be fine. That's like 30 games they would be playing in. So you get to rotate. If for example, we played both Trossard and Martinelli today, and come City game, right? And where he plays, you might not need to bring in bring them in if Darwin plays, right? I mean, I feel like Arteta would put Darwin in. I mean, he's put Darwin in games, right? Late in the game against Liverpool, and where he probably should have come in, but no, he put Darwin in. So for me, if you could trust Darwin in Anfield when it's a close match, then he can come in and play any game. He can come in and play in any game. Yeah, Tiger Goodness says he likes Hinkapi. Yeah, Hinkapi, I think is how you say it. I saw some of the videos on him. He looks good. Looks good. I mean, that's the one thing that gets me every time is we can find an Hinkapi, we can find a Mascara, we can find a Norgard. Sometimes it's a struggle to find, an attacker. And yes, Madueke is the answer to the question, but we paid a lot of money for him. Like to think that we could find somebody for less to do the similar job, and maybe we allowed us to get that left wing that we wanted. I don't see Rodrigo going anywhere now. When he played today, right? So I saw him playing today. I don't know if he started, but he's playing. So you know he's probably okay where he is. So yeah, but we do need a left wing. So maybe it's still maybe it's Rodrigo still. Mm. I mean today Real Madrid just struggle. I think they did come back and get the win, even though they were down a man. They were able to get the win because they got the talent there. But yeah. Mm. There's a question in copy worry you because he played in a back 3 or 5. I don't. Well, one reason why I might have concern is because is it the same as what we had before with Nuno Tavares, right? I mean, he looked more like a wing back than he did like a fullback, right? I think Hincapie looks a little bit more like he can handle being in a back two, and a back two and a back four, right? So I felt like from what I saw from it, it looked different than what we saw from maybe a Nuno Tavares. So I'm not sure. I don't think I'm concerned. I think the one thing I believe is that Arteta has an eye for defensive talent in the sense that yeah he'll get it to work, and I think Hincapie is that kind of a player. So I don't think so. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. I mean I think he's much solid player than what we had with Tavares. You've seen, I think, his defensive presence is felt, so it's not going to hurt us as much. Bates agrees. Hincapie will hold his own. Yeah, no, I think that was a good, another good player we brought in. Right, we're not paying for him yet. He's on loan, but we'll pay for him next year. We're paying a lot of money for him too, just like Calafiori, right? So you know, either we're paying for the future, or we might need to sell to get what we want as well. So we might we might be all right. I don't know. We'll see how Saliba does. Mascara's been playing well. Saliba can't get healthy, or I think he's been practicing. So I think they're just being precautious and maybe having him ready for City is better than playing him today. But I think Mascara can hold up as well. If he can play against Liverpool, I think he'll be able to hold up against City. But if we have Saliba, I'm taking that. I'm taking that. Yeah, yeah. The way that deal is set up, Tiger Gunner, he's essentially like, if you look at transfer mark, he's already on the books. I mean, the way that contract is set up, he's an Arsenal player. It wasn't set up a loan straight obligation. It wasn't set up that way. It was set up basically, we want the player. We don't have enough time to do the entire deal, so bring it. We'll bring him in. He's pretty much. I think we paid a loan fee as well, so I don't think we usually do that. So I felt like, what, like, if you, like I said, if you look at our transfer mart, I think I've been looking at that. He's our player. Yeah, I mean, if like I'm looking at it right now, in terms of arrivals in the 26-27 season, he's actually on there already. 52 mil euros. So, yeah, no. So I don't think we have to worry about him being a full time player for Arsenal. He is, based on the way this contract is set up. So he will be with us for the time being. Nothing to worry about there. Nothing to worry about there. Will Jokeres and have it start together? I mean, I'd like to see it. I don't know when, because I'm fearful that Arteta will go. I can only play one, and this one is Havertz type game. I mean, the one thing you can tell is Havertz probably can hold up the ball a bit better than Jokeres, but I don't think that's why we got Jokeres. So for me, Arteta just has to make it work, right? Make it work with Jokeres. I think he needs to. That's why. That's why Erdogan and Wary Eze are crucial to the cause of Jokeres having a really good run. Play. They gotta play. I mean, Moreno and Rice, and nah. Even I think Moreno is the key. If you don't have Moreno and you're gonna put in Wary, I'm taking it, right? Or Erdogan, I'm taking it. So yeah, but starting to get a little dry. But yeah, I could see that happening in some games, especially in games that we should dominate. We'd like to see us go in and go up at halftime and be laughing. I think we have enough talent to do that. Got BBK in the sports. Everyone saying hello, hello. Welcome to the show, Tehran. Everybody check him out. He's got a daily show. He's out there chatting about Arsenal. Yeah, like to say we're not on it. We are, yin yang kind of thing. But was on a show with him last week or a couple weeks ago, and basically everything he was saying, I was like, go on. So yeah, we do agree on some things. I think we all agree on the same thing. Let's get Arteta, let's get Arsenal, get their arms up, right? Get your arms up, with a metal object in your hand. That's what we want. At the end of the day, all of us, we want that, right? We want that. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, it's been 75 minutes. I've done this all by myself. So yeah, so that was today's game. Arsenal 2-0 lead win on the road. First time Bilbao. I think Bilbao is, they were happy to have this game. I believe it's their first time in a while being back in the Champions League, if I recall. Not having all their players, but we don't have all our players either, so no excuses, right? And looked like we are just going to come up with a draw, which is a slow start for us, like we typically do sometimes. But we have better answers now off the bench, right? We don't. I mean, I did see. Who did I see? I think I saw. Is it Sepford on the bench? So I did see one of the youngsters. Who else was on the bench? Let's see. I did see. I believe it was Setford because I think we had an extra. Yeah, it was Setford was on the bench, and that was it. Everybody else is a number one player. You got Kepa, Saliba. He didn't have to play today. Skelly, Nweri, Max Dowman, right? And then Hincapi and Norgard got to go in. So Norgard's going in now. So we know he's got a little, 5 minutes of football. So if he's playing behind Zubamendi, then that's for me. If he's playing behind Zubamendi, that means you know what Moreno and Rice are. It's one or the other. Arteta. It's one or the other. Where he plays, Eze can come in and go back if you need him to. Yeah, yeah. So let's see. All by yourself, you could have invited. Yeah, no. You know what? I initially I thought I was going to have company, so that's why I didn't even think about it at the time. Then when I got going, I just some people I always feel like I want to train my focus on everybody in the channel, so I didn't even think about it at the time. But yeah, next, I will definitely do that. We have a good rapport when we're on, so yeah, yeah, and I'll give you a heads up. I need to definitely have you on the channel anyways, but I guess it's just the way I've set up my show. I kind of felt like I just like to keep it the same. I don't even have to deal with that, but I should have you on for sure. So I'll give you the heads up next time. I'll definitely do that. You're always open to have me on and I definitely want to return the favor, and I would like to have you on. So that'll happen. Love how Norgard comes in past the medical, totally fine, and picks up a long-term injury. Yeah, it's Arsenal, right? That's Arsenal. That is Arsenal, right? And Moreno comes in, no injuries, bang, Martinelli. And you know what? Maybe Norgard ran into Martinelli. Sorry, not Martinelli, but Gabriel. Maybe Norgard ran into Gabriel as well. Yeah, Mondays is the show. This was just a one-off because I couldn't do the show yesterday. So yeah, yeah. So we're back on a regular Monday schedule. Yep. Frederick Gamer, thanks for being here. Like I said, it's getting close to the end, and I probably need to get ready to get some sleep and gotta go into the office tomorrow. So I gotta get up early and do some. I haven't done exercise in a while. I need to do some exercise before I go to work. It's been a week plus, so I need to get up, do my exercise, shower, and get out the door. Get to do some work in the office tomorrow. Next time them slackers let you down, give me a ring. We'll do. We'll do. We'll do. Definitely. You got a spot on here. I will give you. I'll ping you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I try to put the message out there. So I usually, if I'm not going to be around, you can always check. You can always check. I guess is it the community page or whatever it is on YouTube. I try to put it out there, or typically what I'll do is I will put out a message uh, on YouTube that I'm going to be away. So yeah, yeah. Ellen, happy to have you here. If you haven't already, subscribe and like and all of that. Appreciate it. We'll be back on Mondays. We do a show on the weekends as well. It's kind of like a match day show. We call it the road trip. Pretty much go through all the games that are going on at the time. Maybe a watch along if a game is lines up right. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. on the East Coast. Got David Quirk, buddy from New Jersey. He's a Liverpool fan. Yeah, can't all be Arsenal fans and be all right, but that's all right. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I guess Liverpool plays. Do they play tomorrow or Thursday? So that's right. Yeah, yeah. Boo. 7:30 a.m. over here in Australia. Ooh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so you're when I worked in Malaysia for a bit, and I remember that was like a 13-hour difference from where I was. So so it sounds like a 13-hour, like a 11-hour difference. I guess a 13-hour difference. But yeah. So everybody, I'm gonna say, so yeah. So we're playing City. I'm hoping that Arteta finds it in his heart to give a little child a chance, letting Weary get that start. But I have a feeling we're gonna see what we saw today. I have a feeling we're gonna see what we saw today. Arteta's gonna hope he can slow them down, and I think all he's doing is opening them up because we don't threaten them. And that's the thing. I think if you don't threaten a team offensively, you're asking your defense to be on point for the entire time. I think that this backfires. So I kind of feel like we need to have a threat, and where he gives us that threat. And he's if he can play at Anfield, well, he didn't play it at Anfield, right? He hasn't played at Anfield. That's the thing. If he can come in and back up Erdegaard, he can play. You know, I just find it weird that Dalman got to play in Anfield and where he did. That just seemed like a weird situation. Play with like 10 minutes of game time. Can play it in Anfield, but play with over 1,000 minutes of football. Nah, it's not. No, I'm not gonna use it. What? What? I don't get it. I tell you, you need to explain that one. Explain that. The thing is, he won't explain it because people won't ask that question, but we know why. So, but we'd like to know why. But anyway, everybody. Meanwhile, everyone, we will. I'll see you guys on the Saturday show. I believe Arsenal plays on. We play on Sunday, right? Yep, Sunday 11. I guess it's 4:30. 4:30 in the UK. But we'll be doing our show on Saturday, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, 3 p.m. for you guys in the UK. Thanks for joining us. We'll do this again. I'm happy to have you. I'm glad, just all me, but we'll switch it up a little bit when things need to get switched up. All right. Thanks, Scunner, for being here. Kind of went through both games. Got MGZ here. Oh, Mobile Gooner, I haven't seen you in a while, my man. Good to see you, man. Good seeing you. Yeah, yeah. I assume, yeah. So good having you. If you haven't already, check out you can go back and watch the beginning. But yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, maybe I'll see you around on the Canon. I don't even know. It's been a while on the channel there. I used to do the Easy Talk on there. But yeah, thanks for joining. Glad to see you out there. Glad to see you checking out the channel. Everybody else, thank you again for joining us. We'll do this. We'll be back on Monday. Back on Monday, 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast. It'll be 12:30 for you guys in the UK if you're up. Some of you are. I think most of my audience is in the UK, but there's still a lot of them on over here when I go late. So appreciate it. We should have the full gambit next week. If not, maybe Tehran will join us. We'll see. I'll give him the heads up, see what he's up to. He's like 3 hours behind me, so it's like his it's before he gets off work kind of thing. So everybody, thanks for joining. We'll do this again, and we'll see you guys on the next one on Saturday. Arsenal's got a long time, and we'll go get to laugh at hopefully City. They got to play on Thursday and then come back and play us on Saturday. Maybe they'll be a little bit rusty, a little bit tired. But see you guys. Enjoy. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.